The year 2026 has brought a stark realization for many Americans. Where you choose to live is the single biggest factor in your financial survival. While the national inflation rate has begun to stabilize, regional cost of living disparities have widened into canyons. From astronomical property taxes to surge-priced utility grids, certain states have become efficient machines at siphoning wealth from their residents. Here are the 10 U.S. states that drain your wallet the fastest in 2026. 1. Hawaii. The price of paradise. Hawaii remains the undisputed heavyweight champion of wallet drainage. In 2026, the paradise tax has reached a breaking point, driven by the fact that nearly 90% of all consumer goods must be imported via the expensive trans-Pacific shipping routes. Utility costs here are nearly triple the national average because the island's aging power grid relies heavily on imported petroleum. Furthermore, the housing market has become an exclusive playground for global investors, leaving locals to navigate a median home price that effectively bars the middle class from homeownership. When a gallon of milk and a kilowatt-hour of electricity both feel like luxury purchases, your savings account doesn't stand a chance. 2. California. The regulatory squeeze. Living in the Golden State in 2026 requires a pre-tax mindset. California's aggressive progressive income tax remains the highest in the nation, but it is the hidden costs that truly drain the wallet. Green fuel mandates and high gasoline taxes make commuting a massive monthly expense, while the state's homeowners insurance market has spiraled due to climate risks, forcing residents into expensive, last-resort fare plans. Even with a high salary, the combination of astronomical rent in tech hubs and the high cost of basic services, taxed at every level, means that even six-figure earners often find themselves living paycheck to paycheck in the shadow of the Hollywood sign. 3. New York. The empire state of taxes. In 2026, New York remains a financial gauntlet, particularly for those in the downstate region. Between the state income tax and New York City's local income tax, high earners can see nearly half of their paycheck vanish before it hits their bank account. Beyond taxes, the cost of space is the primary drain. Whether it's rent for a shoebox apartment or the exorbitant cost of commercial real estate passed down to consumers in the form of $18 deli sandwiches, the density tax is inescapable. With the 2026 implementation of expanded congestion pricing and high bridge tolls, simply moving around the state has become a line-item expense that can rival a car payment. 4. Massachusetts. The healthcare and education trap. Massachusetts drains your wallet through its concentration of high-end services. While the state boasts elite schools and world-class hospitals, residents pay a premium for that proximity. In 2026, childcare costs in the Boston metro area have surpassed the cost of a mortgage in most other states. The knowledge economy has driven up property values in every suburb within an hour of the city, and the state's mandatory healthcare system, while comprehensive, carries some of the highest premiums in the country. It is a state where you are paying for the best of everything, but the cumulative cost of that excellence leaves very little room for discretionary spending or retirement. 5. New Jersey. The property tax peril. If you own a home in New Jersey in 2026, your primary financial drain is the local government. The Garden State continues to have the highest property taxes in the nation, with many suburban families paying upwards of $15,000 to $20,000 annually just for the right to live in their homes. This rent to the state persists regardless of whether your mortgage is paid off. When combined with high commuting costs into NYC or Philadelphia and a high cost of living for groceries and services, the suburban dream in New Jersey becomes a high-maintenance financial commitment that eats away at the wealth-building potential of homeownership. 6. Washington. The regressive consumption sink. Washington is often seen as a tax haven because it has no state income tax, but in 2026, the state finds other ways to collect. To fund its ambitious social programs and infrastructure, Washington relies on some of the highest sales and excise taxes in the country. When you buy a car, a bottle of spirits, or even a basic meal, the add-on costs are significant. Additionally, the Puget Sound region's housing crisis has spread eastward, making the cost of shelter a dominant drain. Without an income tax to balance the scales, lower and middle-income residents find that a huge percentage of their take-home pay is immediately clawed back at the cash register. 7. Connecticut. The old money overhead. Connecticut's drain is a result of high fixed costs and aging infrastructure. In 2026, the state remains trapped in a cycle of high debt obligations, which translates to high taxes for residents. Energy costs in Connecticut are consistently among the top 5 highest in the nation, driven by a reliance on complex regional grids. The Gold Coast wealth skews the cost of services upward, meaning that even in more modest towns, the price for a plumber, a mechanic, or a haircut is inflated by the state's general high wealth environment. It is a state where the cost of maintaining the status quo is significantly higher than in the surrounding regions. 8. Maryland. The professional overhead. Maryland siphons wealth through a unique combination of state and county income taxes. In 2026, most Maryland residents pay a piggyback tax to their local jurisdiction on top of their state return, creating a high cumulative tax burden. Proximity to the federal government in D.C. keeps the housing market artificially inflated and resistant to national cooling trends. Furthermore, Maryland's cost of living is driven by high-cost safety and quality of life regulations that increase the price of everything from vehicle inspections to home renovations. It is a state where doing things by the book comes with a significant administrative and financial price tag. 9. Oregon. The income and energy drain. Oregon has become a surprisingly expensive place to exist in 2026. While it famously has no sales tax, it compensates with one of the highest state income tax rates in the nation, which hits the middle class particularly hard. In recent years, the cost of electricity and natural gas has spiked as the state transitions to a greener, but more expensive, energy portfolio. The Portland metro area's high land use restrictions have kept housing supply low and prices high, while new clean air and transit payroll taxes further nibble away at a worker's gross pay. It's a state that values its environment, but the cost of that stewardship is felt directly in the resident's wallet. 10. Alaska. The logistics surcharge. Alaska is the only state on this list that drains your wallet despite having no income or sales tax. In 2026, the drain is purely logistical, because almost everything, from building materials to fresh produce, must be flown or shipped in. The land of the midnight sun has some of the highest grocery and healthcare costs in the world. Heating a home during the long winters remains a massive financial burden, even with state energy subsidies. While residents receive a permanent fund dividend check, it is often swallowed whole by a single month's utility bill or the inflated price of a gallon of gasoline in the bush. In 2026, the geographical wealth gap has shifted from being a measure of salary to a measure of purchasing power. As these 10 states demonstrate, a high gross income can be an illusion when it is filtered through a sieve of aggressive taxation, logistical surcharges, and astronomical fixed costs. Whether it is the paradise tax of Hawaii or the property tax burden of New Jersey, the common thread is a high cost of entry for basic stability. Ultimately, financial freedom in the current economy requires a cold, calculated look at expenditure rather than just earnings. Moving across state lines is no longer just a lifestyle choice. For many, it has become a necessary strategic maneuver to escape the high-cost traps that prevent long-term wealth accumulation.